Hello everyone. So today I thought I'll probably make a very short video, and although I have made videos on this topic, similar topics, I think couple of times, more than a couple of times, but I thought I'll probably just uh, share a very simple thing that I think is very useful when it comes to using Linux, when it comes to using shell scripts. Now I know a lot of people, they start using Linux and they like it. They like the idea. They like the um, ability of Linux, where you're not really limited by what the operating system or what the UI has to offer. You can actually do a lot of wonderful things because there are things on the terminal. There are things like Linux terminal-based utilities or terminal-based utilities in general. Now, when you're using Linux, I think, I mean, I'm not really going to say that I'm probably right or I'm probably wrong because I know it is true. If you're using Linux, then you should, you have to, you must learn little bit of shell scripting because it will actually enhance your experience. Now, I use, of course, Arch Linux, and I also have a lot of scripts that are doing things for me. And I have moved to Arch Linux from Fedora. So I used Fedora for long time, close to 20 years. I think I've not really close to 20 years, but I think I first started using Fedora in 2005, and I used it till 2020. So you can imagine, like I used Fedora and I used KDE for uh, majority of my Fedora usage. So although I started using Linux in late 90s when we used to get those CDs and we used to install those operating systems on our very old Pentium 3. I think I had Pentium 3, Pentium 2, I forgot actually. I think it was Pentium 3 computer. So it used to work really well. But the thing is that if you're using Linux, then without writing or without learning shell scripts, I don't really think you will be able to get the most out of it. Although you don't have to. Again, you don't have to, but if you could do that, learn a little bit of scripting. Now today I thought I'll probably show you uh, how to iterate a file where you may have, let us say, different URLs. So let me show you. So let us say you have a file. I'll probably just open one of my file that I was actually working on. So let us say you have to download things from the internet and you have some URLs, right? And you could have, I mean, you can of course do it manually. Like for example, if you want to download something using wget, you can, right? So just type in wget followed by the URL, or you can use curl -o, big O, and then use the URL. And you may have, of course, 20 URLs or 100 URLs. So you can always, script it. So for example, today I was doing something where I had to download not one, not two, but roughly 25 items from somewhere. I'll not really tell you what, but yeah, I was doing something where I had to bulk download things, and of course, if we're talking about 20 or maybe let us say 5 or 10, I mean, of course, you can do it manually. I mean, you don't always have to automate each and everything in your life. So what you can do is you can actually have a file where you can paste, let us say, URLs or whatever you want to do with those paths. So it could be basically any kind of file path, URL, or just a list. So if you have this particular file where you have basically different items in each line, you can iterate over these items and you can then do something with these items. For example, let us say this is just a file somewhere, and I'm just going to assume that this particular file is I mean, of course, this is just a random string, but let us assume that we have a file path. I mean, of course, there are ways to do it. For example, when I have to concatenate my videos together using FFmpeg, I do something similar. where I dump everything in a text file, like the path to those videos, or whenever I have to, just to give you one more example. So I of course use a mobile phone, and I use MPD. Now in MPD, what I have is I do have like my playlists. For example, if I show you my MPD right now, which is running, so this is my MPD, and or this is basically my NCMP CPP. Now the thing is that I use like using MPD you can create your own playlist. So I do have like a playlist here, which I of course listen to. But the thing is that I want to have not the whole library, but my favorite songs, my playlist, or the songs that are in my playlist, also to be available on my mobile phone. So what I do, I have a script which I run, and I think yes, I remember I made this video. So I have a script that I run that actually looks at these playlist files, and it will copy the path, and then it will make sure that the videos are copied to a separate location. It could be a temp directory or it could be a music directory, and then that directory is also synced to my mobile phone using SyncThing. So of course it is my way of making sure my favorite songs, not really a lot, maybe 50-100 songs roughly, are always there with me on my mobile phone. And of course whenever I run the script, it is going to update it. And if it is a script, you can probably run it using cron or whatever you want to do with that particular script. So when you have scripts, your own scripts, shell scripts, and you can actually customize your workflow, you can do a lot of wonderful things. So going back to the topic, and by the way, this video is not just about me showing you how to iterate this file. It's more about sharing my experience, and you should also do these things. So what I will do is I will basically write a loop, and if you have to do something with these files, or basically these paths that are stored in a file, you can actually write a simple while loop. So all you can do, basically you need to basically read a line, and you can create a variable here called line or whatever you want to call it, and then what we'll do, we'll simply read and print that particular line one by one. So where is my dollar? So this is my variable, and once you do this, you have to basically tell your while that where exactly to look for, like the file, and that particular file is basically this one, which we just worked on. And if I run this, it is going to basically print the same list. Now the thing is that it looks like we are doing it like in just one go, but you can actually change it. So maybe instead of doing echo, you can do let us say you want to run another command. It could be any command, but the thing is that because you are now using a variable, you can do whatever you want with it. For example, if you want to read this line variable, and so what I also do is I also transcode my videos. Not always, but I try. If I have like maybe 5 or 10 of them, I don't really do it manually, like running the command one by one. I can actually use a file like this, and I run the command, and it will read this variable name, and it will then make sure that the new file, after the transcoding, after the after the ffmpeg command runs, it is going to create this particular file, which is basically maybe prefixed or suffixed. In this case, I think I will probably suffix it so that you can see. I mean, of course, right now I'm not really doing any you can also, if you're talking about extension, you have to ideally delimit this, and then also insert like the new name somewhere. So you can always do these things, wonderful things, using your own file that contains nothing but different paths. And you don't even have to create a file yourself. You can actually do it using maybe your script or a couple of commands. For example, if you want to dump all the files of a specific format, let us say all the MP4 files, to this particular list, and then you want to do something with that particular list of files, like I mentioned, transcoding, you can do that. And to keep things very simple, my recommendation would be to start using shell scripts And shell scripts, I mean, it's not really, shell script is nothing but different commands that you run, right? It is not really too difficult. Although I don't really want to say that it is the most simplest thing that you can learn or you should learn without hesitation. But if you can learn few things, I think you should definitely learn few things, not really each and everything, because I think I also know few things. I don't really call myself as an expert of shell scripting. I mean, I can read a shell script if you send me a file, but most of my scripts are very small, doing just few basic things, and that is it. They are not really complicated. I think majority of my scripts are all about getting rid of the manual intervention, or if I have a big command to run, and if you have to run a command, usually in Linux, when you run a command, you have to pass a couple of variables. So you can pass those variables in the script. For example, when I generate my thumbnail for my videos, so basically I have a script called generate thumbnail, and then I pass some variables like variable number 1, variable number 2, and so if you look at it, the variable list is actually quite big, but in most cases it is just a couple of variables that change over the, I mean, if I'm making this video is all about shell scripting, so I'll probably use a specific because I have this particular. Let us do that. So let us write the title. So read file content line by line, right? And then the screenshot, and then I want to use the background, which is for shell scripting. So basically, I have a PNG file, and then I can also insert like my cartoon, which I don't really want to do it in this particular case. So I'll use blank. So blank is nothing but another PNG file, which is blank, and that is it. So if I press enter, it will actually create this this particular thumbnail for me. And as you can imagine, of course, it is not really like the best thumbnail, but I'm able to do it in just 1 second or maybe 2 seconds, and it is nothing but a shell script. So that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to share these simple things that I think we all should learn when it comes to using Linux and getting the most out of it, because it will actually improve your life. It will definitely free up your time. It will basically enable you to do things that really matter. For example, I do a lot of things, and I think I have made, I do talk about it quite a lot, that I don't really spend too much time making videos, and I still want to make videos, number one. I don't want to edit. I don't really want to hire anyone to make my videos, but still I want this ability to make videos regularly. And from my perspective, I think my videos are good. I know I don't really get a lot of views, but I don't really care about it, because even if one person is watching my video, and even if one person is thinking about me, or me, whatever I've shared has improved or made them learn or improved their life even by 0.001%, I think that is all I care about. I'm sure someone somewhere is looking at my videos, watching those videos, and using maybe some of my scripts or some of my techniques. And it is not really about it's not really my script. It's more about sharing my experience on how I use these things to improve my experience when it comes to using Linux, and in general doing my work. All right, that is all I wanted to talk about today. I hope you found this video useful and you learned something new today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.